Fellow Biafrans, lovers of freedom, seekers of justice, all those who have in one way or the other before today and today contributed and are still contributing towards our emancipation from the oppressive state of Nigeria. I greet you all and I say may Chiokika Abiyama bless you. Eke kero wa chionyo ebube amama amasi obi n'igwe ogodo ya na-akpụ naanị. Chinke mgbe gboo chinke mgbe taa. Ọkaka ọkasị akasị. Omemma mma jụrụ arụ. Anyị bụ ụmụ gị anyị akpọkuo gị ma kelee gị maka ihe ọma ị na-emere anyị. Anyị ewee sị gị ekele dịrị aha nsọ gị Chukwu dị ebube dị ngọzi dị ebube. Onye naanị abụchi mgbe gboo naanị abụchi mgbe tata. Anyị ekele gị ma kelebiga gị oke maka na ihe na-emere anyị obuka oriri nne. Anyị wee bịakwa ọzọ wee na-akpọkukwa gị chi okike Abịama wee na-asị gị chi ukwu. Anyị eburu na onye ndu anyị Maazị Nnamdi Kanu okwu bụ nwa gị nwoke nke kwugosiri ike n'eziokwu ma na-azọwapụga njem nwere onwe anyị na-atụghị egwu mmadụ ọbụla. Anyị wee sị gị bụ chi ukwu gị ama amasị amasị oke mmiri na-ebu ogwe. Anyị asị chi ukwu jiri aka gị dị nsọ dị ebube ma dị ngọzi wee napụtara anyị oru gị nwoke bụ nwa gị nwoke wepụtara onwe ya si na ọ ga-ahụrịrị isi ya n'ịhụ na ụmụnne ya bụ ụmụ Biafra nwere onwe ha site n'aka uru nke ndị iro bụ obodo Naijiria. Ya wee sị gị Chukwu gaa njem, Chukwu gaa njem, gaa njem. Ahụike ya ka anyị nyefere n'aka nsọ gị dị ebube, ndụ ya ka anyị nyefere n'aka nsọ gị Chukwu amama amasị amasị. Ọbụnadị onye ozi ya bụ Maazị Simon Ekpa nke kweresikwere ike ma kwudosi ike n'okwu ya si na ọ gaghị ekwe na ọ gaghị eji maka na ejidewo onye ndu ya bụ onye ndu anyị wee sị mba na ọ ga-alazi azụ maka na o kwere na kwechirisi n'ihe dị otu agaghị adị. Anyị wee si dịka ụmụ Biafra anyị ekwerekọta ọnụ, anyị anaghị ele ndị iro ndị mpama ndị rụrụ arụ ndị enweghị ọgụgụ isi ndị na-eso na-agba anyị mgbaba ụmụnne anyị. Anyị anaghị ekwu maka ha. Anyị si ndị bụ ndị ji ezigbo obi wee na-eso gị wee na-eso nzem nwere onwe anyị a. Anyị wee si Chineke nụrụ olu anyị, Chukwu nụrụ olu anyị, ebube nụrụ olu anyị ma napụta anyị n'agbụ nke obodo zuu tinyere anyị. Anyị wee sị otu a anyị kpere ya ka o si ree n'afa gị bụ chi okike Abịama ise. My good people, today we want to talk about still about our freedom, but in this we want to call on our brothers, our sisters who are seizing the internet space to render their time into vain discourse. It might not actually be a vain discourse, but the quality of time they are devoting to issue of religion has become a challenging thing to us. Fortunately, a lot of these people have a way of attracting audience, and they don't want to use this very gift to add value to what we are doing. Some of them really believe in this cause of our freedom, but they choose to ignore contributing with their talent. Instead, they want to use it to talk about vain things. I want to start by addressing our brother. I have our sister, Amypassion. Please, as a Biafran, as a media warrior, as an ordinary Biafran who is not a media warrior, try to reach this video to her. As you share to her, also try to share to all other Biafrans. This issue of religion have been treated very squarely by our leader, Maazị Nnamdi Kanu. we were made to understand by our leader Mazen Nnamdi Kanu, not just because he said it, but because this is the truth. And before I progress with this, I will want to leave a quotation from a scholar, because he's not a Nigerian, a scholar by name Dr. Edward Robbins Jr. Dr. Edward Robinson Jr. He once said, and that was in a very, he favored even the African man in that quotation. He said, even with all your degrees in the world, you remain miseducated if you don't learn your African history. If you don't learn the true history of your African ancestors, you remain miseducated. According to yet another scholar, Miyamoto Musashi, he said, and I quote, "Truth is not what you want it to be, it is what it is, and you must bend to it. You must bend to the power of it or live a lie." You must bend to the truth or live a lie. Truth is not what you want it to be. Rather, it is what it is, and you must bend to its power or you live a lie all your life. This is a wonderful quotation. Now, we want to advance further. I want to now refer to Amypassion. Amypassion, I don't hate you. I respect your gifting. I respect your talent. But I want to leave this quotation, then we progress. We roll the ball. Yes, according to Jean Rousseau, he's one of those people who put up a theory for formation of a state, from this modern state. Jean Rousseau, there's another third name. Maybe if I call that one, you will know him if you are acquainted with history, political science, and humanitarian sciences. Now, say people who know little are usually great talkers, while the men who know so much, they talk little. You have always dabbled into this issue of religion and history, because trying to communicate or trying to navigate your ideology, you use history to back it. Yes, but in so doing, many times you misfire. But we are not going to dwell on your misfiring. We want to call you to order. If you really, because I have seen you trying to sympathize or support or call for the release of our indefatigable leader, Mazen Nnamdi Kanu Amadike, one in the whole land of Biafra, Adero two. In your attempt or your effort to contribute to what we are doing by calling for his release, I sincerely applauded that effort. The other day you brought your children. I made mention of it in the other video I did for you. But in a video I was watching, if I see it, I will still attach it here. I will still attach it here. Now, you were trying to say that the word God doesn't exist. It doesn't exist. My sister, is that not too fallacious? It's way too fallacious. Every part of the world, every gathering of every collection of a people, every race, every human gathering, or every people have what they call this God. At the end of the day, we all call one God. You know that you're talking about, you call God, it appears you lie to yourself. That's why I had to go to the quotation by Edward Robinson Jr., Dr. Edward Robinson Jr., because he said, You need to know the history of your ancestors. You need to know about your African ancestors. When you were trying to, in the other video you did last time, when you tried to talk about your ancestors and how they were productive, how they were researchers and what they produced, you were referring to 1967 to 1970. These are the people you call your ancestors? That makes you misinformed. Your ancestors should be the time that Campbell was building telephone. Your ancestors are from 17th. From 17th, you should be laying claim to ancestry, a representation of ancestors, dating back to dates like that. It's not something that just 50 years ago you are calling them your ancestors. Your own father is above 50. Your father now should be part of people who witness ancestors. Let me not dwell on the past. The particular video I'm talking about is where you were trying to tell your followers that God is not God, that it is an acronym. Because I listened to that. These are all creative intelligence. We in Biafra, we do that a lot. We say this is good, this is girls are dangerous at night and all of that. No. Stop misinforming your followers, because a lot of them go home with it as authentic information. Because you put a body language of an authority. You are not an authority. I am not trying to say you are not. You should be educated by the way you present your what do you call it, your content. But the truth be told, God is the word used by people of the West, those Anglophone West. If you listen to Mazi Nnamdi Kanu's video, I don't know whether you just you followed Mazi Nnamdi Kanu and believe in the cause of our freedom, or you just feel like somebody you hear his name is imprisoned for wrong cause, so you as an activist, maybe if you want to, I don't know, as an activist you are joining to call for release of someone you just heard his name, or that you really followed him. Because if you really followed him, he was able to give different lectures to claim. He said it was necessary to discuss religion, but in so doing, from a very positive dimension. Christianity, there is nothing wrong with it, my sister. The problem you should be, there is a man you played his video. You have played that man's video severally.
It is 1 a.m. in the morning. I am looking for a ghost,
Dr. Chido,
evil spirit.
The particular video you used, Dr. Chido, hungry and angry.
This place is a cemetery.
Now, in this video,
are buried. I am here.
You can see how this Dr. Chido tried to show
here alone
or relate or pass this message without necessarily calling Jesus a shower, calling Jesus names.
Surrounding them.
You are doing this because you understand that your people are tolerant. Because you understand that your people are naturally educated, they are naturally exposed. Like I told you in the other video where you were insulting the old man. This man never insulted anybody. When this man addressed, this Dr. Chido addressed this issue of Christianity,
there is no ghost.
He now was not in any way trying to say that Christianity in its whole essence is fake. In the number of videos you played, number of his videos you played, you aired out, you republicized, he was always saying that these are alien religion, or this Christianity is an alien religion brought and imposed to us. He was pointing out to the way and manner this religion was brought to Africa. He was very careful. You see a man who is learned. He was very careful in pointing out to the way and manner this Christian faith was brought to Africa, and the purpose with which the people that brought it. Now, if you had followed Mazen Namdekanu's video, Christianity does not belong to the West. The West instead adopted it. The West, we in different parts of the West, they have, like Chido also did in a particular video where he was showing you a cemetery. Now in that country, these people have their own culture too. They have their own cultural practices. But being that Christianity supports an international standard for human inhabitability, human environment inhabitability, I mean that it supports to organization of a sane society, they have to adopt it. But because the cruel people who advanced it, remember, if you are really a student of history, Christianity was not what these people came first with. The Portuguese, I don't know how advanced you are about history. From 1876, sorry, from 1881, it was Royal Niger Company. Okay, it was even another Gov't, something African National League was the name. Then around 1886, they changed it to Royal Niger Company. Then the Royal Niger Company, as at 1890, was now bought over by Britain. The Britain now bought it over. This was a company that started at before they told they were trying to they told us, or in their history they were saying that they were in excursion kind of. Now from there it was now a trade. Now, like, if you were as sound as you want us to believe you are, dig deep into history and then lead a good crusade to tell the world that the country that we are imposed on, we were embroiled, that it is an establishment, it is a British establishment, it is an enterprise. We are actually goods. We are actually goods. We are producing wealth for the West. That should be your crusade. The religion they brought to us, they took it to China. During the Opium War, they took the opium and they took religion. But China people were China ancestors. At a point, they were defeated, though, the China ancestors, but they maintained their integrity. Chinese people never sold their antiquities. They never sold their deities. They never accepted the Greek gifts. Our ancestors did. Now, when you try to say who told you the history, now I see the hypocrisy in you. You accepted the history of Campbell, Graham Bell built telephone. China brought a compass. Egypt brought this. Imhotep was the first what do you call him? A philosopher. And all the history they gave you, you accepted them. But when they tell you your own history, you don't know. Did they stop you from writing your own history? Did they stop your ancestors from writing? Did you know when the printing machine was first built? Printing machine, I think that was in 14th. They checked the history of invention as far back as 1450s. As far back as 1450s, printing press, printing machine was already created. Yes, it was a German inventor, Johannes Gutenberg. Johannes Gutenberg created this 1450s. Yes, 1450s. Wheels that you use, the way we started these vehicles, it dates back to 35 BCs before Christ. 35 years before Christ. Now, if you can remember, look at this man. This man I referred to that you use his video. Check the man you use his video. The Dr. Chido, I mean. Dr. Chido here was very, you can see that this man is sound, is learned. When he was telling you there was no demon anywhere in Europe, he was particular about what he is discussing. He didn't dabble from here to there, from here. That the things that we are giving, the intuitions and the abstract wave that they gave us, even when you were showing a video of all, these are the things you should talk about. They gave you many negative impressions about things of life. Now, your focus should be this kind of pastors that twisted this faith. Chido told you that Christianity even dates back to 2,000 years ago. And you, when you want to tell us about your ancestors, you are telling us about people that joined Ojuku in the technology department. That's your ancestors. That's how much learned you are. You should go and see when technology started. Inventions date so back as 3,500 BC, 1450s, 14s. The compass, everything you are hearing, China started. Now, this same Britain took Christianity to China. During the first Opium War, if you can, I don't know how advanced about you are, I don't know how learned, I don't know how academically sound and sound you are, I don't know, but it is all available in the internet. Go and check about the Opium War, first Opium War first. You see that they took this religion to everywhere they go. They stamp their feet. They still conquered the Chinese, and eventually China just, even the capital territory at a point, China left Hong Kong. It was just not up to 30 years ago that they reclaimed Hong Kong. It's not up to 50 years ago. Just let me not be, because I can't remember exactly because I'm here. I didn't really prepare for this. It's not too long when China just recorded. Just let me say it's not up 50 years ago. Now, these same people that were conquered, they were resolute, they were not gluttons, they were no longer throats, they had focus. Now you are telling us that the history, when they tell you, even African writers told you, your ancestors were collecting caps, red caps, mirror, comb, and the richest bicycle. And remember that these people travel from thousands of miles to come. Now, you want us to return to our roots. Now, see how hypocritical you can be. Because I want you to leave these things that you know you cannot finish. Leave these things that you know you cannot finish. If you must talk about it, try to condemn the Ndioshi, try to condemn them. Try to condemn their evil practices. Try to condemn them for using the pulpit to rob the people. Try to condemn them. Do your research. Get your findings. Get your facts down. Dislodge them. Attack them. Ask them, where in their Bible, this Christ they are following, where in their own Bible did they see Christ collecting the offering they are collecting? That is what you should do. Not discrediting Christianity and calling Jesus names when you know you cannot call Prophet Muhammad names. And Dr. Chido told you in the video that Islam faith just came in less than 700 years ago, when the Christianity, which was after Christ, Christianity started after Christ had gone. Yes. Now it has lasted for over 2023 years. Yes. This is a man who is educated. You see him lodging his attack. He directed it to the man he knows that is duping the poor masses. And he was very emphatic by saying this wealth, these resources would have even been better used by building industries. Then, because he said, if you even followed him, he said, these new generational churches, you see a man who is learned. Man, while he tried to protect African culture, while he tried to preserve his cultural heritage, while he tried to keep his tradition, he was careful not to discard or to call the other name. Rather, he acknowledged the fact that it's an alien practice and was also dutiful in pointing out the aspect of its imposition on us. Because through the barrel of gun, we were forced down not to react. But that was on economic base. So I don't want to attack him, given that he has proven his soundness of mind. And you, here, when you want to do your own video, you want to create your own content, you will not be satisfied until you try to abuse everybody, abuse everything, and you're also always careful not to abuse Islam. Are our people not getting converted to Islam? Now, I want to ask you, where in the Bible did you see Jesus collecting tithes? Rather, was it not the same Jesus? You should ask these people who are deceiving and duping the ordinary man where they are getting their own. But if they say they are Christians, if they are Christians, they should practice Christianity, because the name Christian, the word Christian implies a life patterned after Christ. And these people are not in the same Bible they read. They hear where Jesus said that this call is not for wealth creation. His mission, there he said, even the birds of the air have their nest. Said the horses have their own. Said, but he, the Son of Man, doesn't have where to rest his head, because it's not a call for luxury. His mission is not so. Those who must follow him must say, even when they should leave their dead ones to bury themselves. He was very explicit in trying to explain this, but our people refuse to read. If you think you are very knowledgeable enough, you should be asking the right questions. Is it this Jesus that is the problem, or these people who are now projecting the world? Are they using that Jesus because he had good intentions and now using it as a cover, as an avenue to amass wealth? Because the Jesus himself, you never found anywhere. Because if you really do read, if you do research, you wouldn't be doing what you are doing. You don't research. If you do research, you won't be doing what you are doing. Because your unguided utterances shows that you are not a researcher. Even some Islamic teachers do read Bible. Even if you're not reading it for the sake of you being converted, you read it for the sake of the kind of argument you are going into. You should be able to always defend yourself when counter arguments comes. Jesus, whenever he gathers people, he feeds them, he gives. Whenever people are restricted from God, he said, allow the children to come unto me. For the house of my father is for people like this. But the people you call pastors under the GOs that you are using to condemn Christianity today, you'd leaving even the children alone, the adults hardly see them. Because protocols, you won't be able to even pass their protocols. The kind of escorts, the security they use, the entourage, you don't even question why is it they tell you. Some other people who come to social media to even put up this argument, they ask rightful questions. Okay, when you give us prayers and you give yourself security and you give us apron to wear for security, you are using guards, men very well armed. So I want you to put this your argument that has suddenly become very mischievous and clueless to rest. Now put up the armor of freedom fight, like the Dr. Chido you heard. He was very, very, very careful to point out to what need. He said, Dr. Ebukobi, leave these people, because what they are suffering that you are casting out is they don't have money. They don't have means of getting the money. They don't have opportunities to put their efforts to get this money. They don't have the enabling environment to get this money. And these are the things we have here at hand. We have the solution. The solution is the dissolution of the state that has played the underdog and built the people they should serve into their own servant, and converted the national treasury, public wealth, to their family wealth, that they live the highest luxurious life in the world, while they send their population, the people they should represent, are living below average living standard. You would want us to go back to the root, to our root, but you are out of your root. In your father's root, in the root that you want us to go back to, I want to ask you, do women go to school? Were female folks trained in school? Does female folks talk when they are not talked to? In your route that you are going to, do women talk? Do women come to give partake in public opinion? Were women considered as even part of representation in human society in your root? I want to ask you, that's your root that you are you in your root? Is overseas there that you are doing your content from? Is that place your root? Is that place your root? In the root that you are claiming to be, when a woman goes to, let me not go there, but you eat gizzard. In your root, do you eat gizzard? In your root, you don't know, there are a lot of nso. Go and ask your father. As a woman, you should, but you, every day you masticate anything you see. Anything you see at all, you eat. But you want to go back to your root, and you are there. You are telling people, you are teaching people who are in their root, who are even in their homeland, to go to their root, and you are in another man's land, rooting in another man's land, and you want them to go back to their root. What manner of hypocrisy is this? Mazi Nnamdi Kanu was educating us that the multi-ethnic, multi-background, multi-linguistic background that we all share, that this diversity is dangerous. Then he challenged them that go and see that all the Western states, including the Europe that you also, the America you talk about, that's America there. It is they adopted in their constitution. You can come home, anybody can come in, but you must swear an allegiance to their own constitution, which is patterned after Christiano-Judaist and the Romani principles. Christian faith mixed with Judaism, from where the Christian faith even originated, and then Roman political institution. That is what they patterned it after. Even though the area was originally owned by Red Indians. Now then he was telling you, there was no point condemning, because this Christian faith was good for. You are pointing to people how in Germany this one has been converted to hotel. That is true. That one is true. Converted to hotel. Now has that placed Germany ahead of US? And you that is trying to tell people that it's because you have Christianity that is why they are not progressing. How come that the people that are Christian countries are still considered the first world? They are still considered the most advanced. They are considered even the greatest economies. And you are telling somebody, because these people who listen to you might not have been very privileged to having access to good education. Now a lot of them follow you. Then what do you profit by misinforming, miseducating your followers who are believing in you, trusting on you that you are giving them the truth? That is why I tried to refer to you. I quoted something. I said, no matter what education you have, you must know your roots, because the knowledge of your roots will help you. It will help you educate others. But when you don't have it, you can't give it, because you can't give what you don't have. You can't give what you don't have. That's why I say people who know little are usually great talkers, according to Jean Rousseau. Where you are delving into, that's your route you want to go. You yourself, you know very well. You don't want to share your wife, your husband with any other woman. You, Amypassion. You don't want to share your husband with any other woman. But you are forgetting that that's your route you are going to. You don't need to. You are supposed to have at least, your husband should have at least more other 16 wives now, or as many he might deem fit he can handle. Some even go as far as having up to 40s. That is your route. Oh. Can you see your hypocrisy? I don't mean no insult, but you see your hypocrisy yourself. Yes, in your route you are supposed to have co-wives, but you are enjoying that man alone. You are enjoying him. Your children, even your female children, there, you are giving them foreign education, white man education. You are in the white man's land, and you are telling us that they concocted we should take our roots. Our route is our roots, taking Western education, but you are enjoying Western education. You are benefiting from the Western civilization. You are benefiting from Western civilization. And you want your root. You want your root. Kwifugo. Kwifugo. Wepu aka enwe n'ofe tupu o were aka mmadụ. Because you're not very well grounded in the line of argument you are delving into. Yes, you can see you are not very well grounded in it. That's why I am begging you, I'm calling on you now to please channel this your energy into our freedom cause. Maybe at least 85% of this your followers whom you are miseducating, because they don't know that the person who is educating them is not grounded in that area. Because in your field of endeavor, you could be very wonderful. I don't know. But here in this very one, no. Because you first of all need to know, you don't give what you don't have. Nemo that no carbohydrate. As a lasting phrase which says, you can't give what you don't have. Yes. Being is being, and not being is not being. So I'm telling you now, please, we want you, use your energy for our freedom cause. It will pay you much more better. The discussion of religion, you should not be bringing it forward. Since you have this talent, preach Biafra, preach our freedom. If you must touch religion, tell our people the truth about the people who mount the podium to deceive them with the religion, and not you attacking the religion by itself, or attacking the figure of the religion, that is the person of the faith itself. If you watched, there's a video that trended where Israel, in fact not all the video that trends you see in Israel, before they go to any war, currently this war with Hamas and Hezbollah and the rest of them, check what is the population of Israel. The same story you heard in the Bible, the same story is still surfacing. If you follow this man I am always using, that you are playing his video, you can see how educated he is. He will always refer to the Bible also, and he tried to point out that the problem is not the Bible, the problem is the people who are now acting as the shepherd, that are now leading the followers, the church people. That is the problem, not the Bible itself. Because practicing the Bible as it is, at least, unless to the extent where the West tried to doctor some portion, but he tried to point to you, and he used the Bible to that extent that the Bible remained the biggest book, the most selling book, the most selling document that have a very wonderful guiding principles to a very sane human society. That's what he did there when he pointed it. Maybe you posted the video, you can't remember exactly where, but that's the man I'm talking, the doctor, because he's indeed a doctor. The way he talks, his carriage, his comportment, you see, he's a doctor. He's a doctor. That's why I am going to leave this. I am going to draw the curtain here by using Alvin Toffler's words to you, where he said, the illiterate of the 21st century will not be those who cannot read nor write. Those ones are the illiterates of yesteryears. But those who cannot learn, relearn, and unlearn, that is the illiterate of the 21st century. If you seal your mind over what you think you know, you're returning to your root, which have been pointed to you as a shameful hypocrisy of you. It's a shameful hypocrisy where you want people to return to their roots, and you are enjoying Western civilization. You are enjoying Western environment. You are enjoying Western education. You are benefiting from Western education. You are still passing on the Western education to your own children. And only Bible is your problem. You want to return to your roots. You want to return to your roots. If you are returning to your roots, how many of your traditions, of the sacred practices of the Igbo tradition can you uphold? Do you know when you don't go with footwears? Time comes, there are events you go, time and season where you don't go with your footwears. And do you know what it means even sometimes when you are menstruating and you still have your husband coming around you, not necessarily having anything to do with you, but in living in the same hut, as it was called, the same room, then hot. You don't know how abominable and how destructive it is to the man. And you are enjoying all of this today. You are doing all of this today. How many of those sacred practices can you uphold today? You are going to your root. You are enjoying your husband alone. If you want to go to your root, start today. Go and get your husband 5 women, 5 wives, 5 more wives, so that you know you are going to your root. That is the way to start going to your root. And you are telling us God. God. Where those places, tell me the human society that doesn't have a name they call their God. Is it the problem of the white man that they called God, Chukwu Kikabiama God? Do you think China don't know have a name they call their God? You go to Saudi Arabia, because I know maybe you just dwell only that place you are now. You don't travel around. All over the world, every people have what they call God, but the white man choose to call him God. In Israel, the Jewish people call him Elohim. They call him Yahweh. And the Christ, when you follow Mazen Namdekano, the contention is that the name Jesus was now coined to suit the white man's tongue and accent. Yahweh is the name. And these are things that are in the documents. They are all documented. While people were documenting their own history, but your own ancestors couldn't. Oh, I said printing press started 1450. Check how many years away from today. Printing press in Germany. What did you tell those your followers that the people you called researchers as your ancestors researched? What was their findings? What is their inventions? Witchcrafty. So that's not where we're going anyways. Make do with this today and repent by using your energy to talk Biafra. Speak Biafra. Educate people on Biafra. Biafra freedom. Because that is the solution of all this gullibility you are seeing amongst our brothers who are falling for any kind of wind by pulpit criminals and rascals who demonstrates all manner of criminality. Thank you. As you will understand that this is not intended for hate, but because neither is it intended for casting out passions. No, we are here for freedom. We hate it when you have the energy to add to what we are doing and you use it for vain talk, for vain things. After all, even Jesus himself treated this whole issue that you are using to condemn us. The businesses they are doing, it started from the synagogue. When he saw people were doing business in his father's house, he had to pour them. Now that your people are doing is selling their writing books, selling and doing businesses in the church, and because everything they do in the church, all is business. So you should have referred to the origin of the faith, and you, in your aloofness, insulting the faith. Thank you. No Biafra ya mara unu mma. Unu ga-adị ka echi. Echi ada agwụ agwụ. Iju niile abụ ije mmiri n'afọ a. Anyị abụrụ ije ọkụ. Kọsọ anyị onye efe n'aka nne onye efete onye egbu n'aka ekpe onye egbute. Onye azụ mbọsị oyi onye azụta mbọsị afọ mbọsị nkwọ mbọsị eke ezumezu niile onye azụta. Otu anyị gọrọ ya ka ọ le gọngọrọ ngọtọ. Otu ọ dị. Amaala unu mma.
I understand that the Sadikin Fulani of Lagos went to see the U.S. ambassador to Nigeria in Lagos a few days ago. And according to the message, or should I say information coming out of the U.S. mission, they said is to foster cohabitation and unity, that diversity is strength. And I want to lay that particular nonsensical narrative to bed tonight before I continue any further. Anybody telling you about strength in diversity, that person is a liar and a deceiver. And the U.S. ambassador, one thing they don't teach we Africans is this. No country exists on a foundation of multiculturalism. There is nowhere in the world. Listen to me very carefully. All this nonsense, even the crap that Coca was coming up with, telling you about diversity is our strength and all that rubbish. Allow me to repeat, there is no country on this earth that survives on a foundation or a bedrock of multiculturalism. It doesn't exist. That is why multiculturalism in Africa is dead on arrival. It can never work. Because we are tribal beasts by nature. We are tribal by nature. That is why we travel from wherever we are during New Year's, during Christmas, during Easter, during New Year Festival to go back home where we come from. Because that is where we identify with. Now, let me ask the U.S. ambassador a very simple question. Is United States of America a multicultural society? U.S. that was created and built by Western Europeans. U.S. was created, should I say, created by God, of course. Built by Western Europeans. Mostly English people that was fed up with the way of life of the English monarchy. They went to America on Mary Rose. I want to ask the U.S. ambassador, I want to teach Africans what they don't know this evening. There is no country that functions on this multi-ethnic rubbish. Nowhere in the world, not even the USA, that was created by people who are not indigenous to America. The owners of the soil of America are Native American Indians. That is a fact of life. God gave America to Western Europe to develop and gave them a special grace to be the beacon and the light and the conscience of the world. Because God knew that if he had left all these wonderful people in Europe, they would become contaminated. He removed them from Europe, sent them to America, built a wonderful nation as a shining light. and a beacon for the whole world to look up to. Even that America that was built from scratch by people who are not indigenous to the land is not multicultural. Why am I saying this? America was founded on the principles of Judeo-Christian, Greco-Roman, democratic value systems. I repeat, America is not multicultural. They accommodate other races and other nations. Yes, they can accommodate you. But where you're coming into, the bedrock, the foundation of America is based on Judeo-Christian principles, Greco-Roman political ideology, which is republicanism. America is not multicultural. America is Western Europe. The value systems of Western Europe, Judeo-Christian, Greco-Roman, Republican governance. Had America been a multicultural society, they would have space for Sharia. I'm now addressing the US ambassador to try to tell them to stop deceiving people. We are educated, we went to school for a reason. We're enlightened and we have our brain intact. There is no country on this earth that runs on this wishy-washy multiculturalism. It doesn't happen. What you have are established order and value systems upon which various cultures can now coexist. If you go to America, you coexist under the provisions of the United States Constitution. And the US Constitution is a Christian constitution, not Islam. America is not multicultural, but under that bedrock of liberty and egalitarianism, you allow other cultures to come in. But first of all, they must swear allegiance to the, or take an oath to uphold the Constitution of the USA. That is something that the US ambassador never told the Janjaweed that went to visit her. The same way that Nigeria cannot function as a viable entity. Wole Soyinka knows what I'm talking about. I'm even sure somebody who claims he's learned, as Bishop Coker is, understands what I'm talking about. No country on this earth. The value system of the state of Israel is based on Judaic principles. The value system of Russia is entirely theirs, is based on theirs. It's a Russian way of doing things from times of the Tsar. If you go to Saudi Arabia, it is essentially a Sharia Islamic state. You can live there, no problem. You can build your churches if you want. I think they've not started to allow churches to be built. But it is never a multicultural society. Japan is not a multicultural society. China is not. They can accommodate you, but that doesn't mean they are this is the type of nonsense they feed Africans, and we fall for that very gimmick of multiculturalism. At the end of the day, you end up with a useless contraption like Nigeria. You don't have any value system that anybody anywhere can define. If I talk about the USA, I can talk about hamburger in the USA. We can talk about, what else do they have in the USA? Hamburger, you can talk about, what's it called? What are the traditional dishes? Apple pie and all the rest of it. You can say that these are American dishes. If you go to the UK, you can talk about maybe mashed potato and bangers and mash, which is sausage and mashed potato as their national meal. That's understandable. But I ask you, if you come to Nigeria, what is the national dish of Nigeria? Does a Fulani Janjaweed eat ofe egusi, where we come from? Does an Igbo man eat a wedu soup? The answer is no. So on what basis is all this so-called multicultural foundation going to be laid upon? On what? We are not one people. We may be black, we may be Africans, but we're not one people. Not even one religion. If Britain cannot stay in an EU that is entirely Christian, EU is entirely Christian. Britain left. Nigeria, you don't know if Nigeria is Christian or in fact is Islamic. So for me to accept the multiculturalism being preached by the US ambassador, I have to embrace Islam as my religion. That's what it means. And some of you get taken in by all this rubbish. And I feel sorry for you. Yeah, sometimes when I say this, I'm being very arrogant. If you are educated, you will understand that no nation is multicultural. They allow other cultures to come in. It doesn't mean they're multicultural. They have a viable space where multicultural ideas or identities can thrive. But the foundation has to be monolithic. It has to be one dominant value system and ideology. That's how it is all over the world. Don't let anybody fool you otherwise.